In Uganda, we have a tribe called the Baganda. They have a saying that Enkumbi terimba. Loosely translated, the whole does not lie when it comes to agriculture. But recently, some people have been having skepticism about that proverb and saying of Enkumbi terimba, considering the fact that a lot of crops, mostly cash crops, that we once had a lot of believed in as one of the sources of income amongst many homes in Uganda, has continued to face numerous challenges from the growth perspective, but also the policy perspective. The prices have been fluctuating, coming up and down. So we thought it wise to talk to somebody who is at the center stage of mostly not just exporting, but also growing these cash crop commonly known as coffee over emwanyi. We are joined by a farmer, Mr. Odrek Rwabwogo. Thank you again for having us on your farm.
You're welcome.
How are you,
Thank
Sebo?
you. Very good.
Enkumbi erimba oba terimba?
No, enkumbi terimba.
Okay, we still using.
Okay. I think the coffee is an expanding crop worldwide. There are many more people coming into consumption. If I take myself as an example, I drank coffee when I was about 30, 35. But I was drinking the type of coffee you mix with milk, you mix with... Well, my children drink espresso. And they are in their early 20s, which means that they are acclimatized to this product as they grow. And this is just me as a household. So take millions of young people coming into the workplace worldwide, the demand is growing. Now, for us, this land where we're standing, this used to be a cattle shed for many, many years. The first herd of cattle here was 1966. So I shifted 15 acres and said, let's try this crop. Because coffee, the people of Greater Uganda, Buganda, Ankole, Toro, Bunyoro, Northern Uganda, all our groups that began to form nations around 1500, all of us know the value of coffee. We used it for friendship, we used it for culture, but now we are using it for commercial purposes. There is clono that is attacked by pests, so our government has done a good job now doing KR 17 and KR 19. Do the right pit, 3x3, use the natural fertilizers from the farm, which is integration, so I don't have to buy
fertilizers and all that, or manure.
And then cut the grass that is the wild grass that cows don't eat and use it to create the shade as the crop grows. We tested 120 different types for Sabia to pick 4. I took a year and a half to agree on what Sabia drinks. So we really need to understand what the consumer drinks instead of just focus. Roasting is great, but also who buys our roasting. The second one is to make sure that the farmers have a singular template. So you don't find me growing the type of clono, which is less disease resistant, then the other one grows. So the uniformity of this household crop will give us quality. And so if you have washing stations, if you have good drying, if you have nearness, like now if I have here a collection center where I can do kase, then I start now to deal with buyers at a higher level and get a good price for the farmers.
Recently, you know me, I interview or I interact with a lot of farmers. Many of them have started losing hope in coffee that we are talking about today, considering the price surge, the fluctuation and all that. Some people are not trying to, haven't found sense in growing this amazing crop that you are currently promoting. What message do you have for them?
These are seasonal ups and downs. They are for all commodities, whether it's maize or sorghum or milk. All crops at primary level will have this trouble. You deal with it in 2 ways. The first one is extending the shelf life of what you produce, either by refrigeration, because when a truck can keep yogurt in longer for 2 months, you'll get buyers. So good transportation, good roasting, good value add, meaning break casse into grain and do some packaging. This is good.
Okay.
The second one is, for me, I'm not very worried about this up and down. As long as many more consumers are coming onto the market, as long as the crop is becoming easily accessible by the domestic market. The domestic market is very important because we do about 7 to 8 million bags. Let's call them 10, but we drink less than 500,000 bags. Very small, which tells you if you're not growing on the domestic market, you don't have a reservoir you can use when the prices internationally go down. So to promote coffee in restaurants, around Kampala alone, Kampala Wakiso, 1,760 restaurants. You imagine you put a machine that makes espresso in each of them and you give them on hire purchase. You will have many more people drinking good coffee domestically. They mix your Robusta, a little bit of Arabica or other tastes as people want them, and they drink it. So for me, the solution, keep it longer by adding value. So you had the roasteries, they're increasing, but they are not producing a standard taste that is very good. You find some have produced coffee with earthy taste, others produce with some aromatic taste, others are... So that standardization is really important as a coffee industry to speak about it. People are talking about the coffee brand, but me, I want a coffee group that deals with standard, tastes, preferences, roasting. Then we can go build a brand. One does not need to stop for another to happen, but clearly if you build a brand without legs at home, you will not be able to succeed. They should go together, but focus more on, do I produce the right profile? Second, are many more Ugandans in offices drinking this coffee, or they are drinking imported coffee? Yeah. But to worry about fluctuation, there are huge behemoth companies that rely on that fluctuation. All of them are European and American. They buy cheap, they sell high. They are able to keep longer, they have their trucks, they have their ships. If you want to compete with them, it's difficult. You focus on, do I add value? If I can sell at $10 to $15 a kilo in Kenya, why am I bothered about $40 for now in Italy? It's even worse. In Italy, it's cheaper because that's where every coffee goes. But Tanzania, Kenya, Congo, we have very good market if we can agree on a standard as a coffee country, and we'll get it. When you see me planting,
then it's a sign
at my age now, then I'm encouraging everybody to get into this. They should not worry.
Okay. I'm not very old, but growing up, I used to see, we used to call them society, where people used to bring their coffee, kept and all that. As we speak today, in fact, even BCU of Mbale still has a lot of challenges right at the center of it. But growing up, we used to see those society centers, and unfortunately, most of them have been eroded. How important were they, and do we still need them right now? And if so, can we go back to it? Because it used to help a lot of coffee farmers, most especially in rural areas.
We did not, when we were younger as a system, the current system, we did not protect cooperatives. Because cooperatives, really from the 60s, had been politicized. And I think we focused more when we were unbundling institutions of government in the 90s. We unbundled those cooperatives and we built individual merit. Now, it's been 25, 30 years. Individual merit also has its own effects. Everybody wants to go on their own hill. It's not just cooperatives, but even to keep systems that collect many more people well run has been an issue. PDM, we are now taking money to households through circles, which is a great thing. I am assuming really that out of that effort we can restore cooperative aggregation centers. So it doesn't have to be the standard cooperative as you know it in the 60s, 70s. It's okay. But there is new technology to aggregate. And some groups are doing it. We have a group we are working with in Gulu that has 10,000 farmers in Simsim. There's no government in there, but they are organized around the price, and we're trying to give them incentives on what to use. So a rose is a rose by another name. The market now is demanding better aggregation. Kenya is aggregating faster, cheaper, easier than us. We could take some lessons on crops that have demand. Coffee is one of them. Maize is another. Fish is another. Milk may have a bit of challenges because you have smaller farmers gathering this milk in chill centers and then middlemen deal with factories. However way you look at it, where it's cost effective to aggregate, we should bring in technology, education, and educated people like you to not fear agriculture.
Yes.
And say, as long as I can put in money here and have a 10% markup, let me create a cooperative and encourage government to come in for a product.
Amazing. There's a debate that has been going on in the country recently where an individual was given money to do to teach Ugandans how to drink coffee. Do you think it has yielded any effort in that regard?
So I really don't know the terms and conditions of that agreement or whatever you want to call it. I think that it's, I am concerned, or I would focus on three things when I deal with the domestic market. First, that wherever you locate a processing plant, even in places that traditionally had no coffee, I'm happy. So if you locate a plant in Tungamo, eventually you have it in Masaka, but the Masaka person gains. If you take Nwoya had zero coffee until about 4 or 5 years ago. Now there are many coffee farmers coming up. So let's not worry where we locate machinery, equipment of any type. I'm just being really very general. Any type is not a good way. Locate in an area equipment that farmers can use. The second thing that I would love to see is connecting coffee consumption with assembly of machines that make good coffee. Because when you teach me to drink coffee, and then I turn on an external brand in a tin, you have not helped me. When you are educating, however way that education is, tie it to assembling machines and equipment, and remove taxes on packaging, for example, packaging material, promote local secondary packaging. Primary packaging are the boxes, external. Secondary is the contents where coffee goes. Attach those incentives to promotion so that it's easier to process here, put in a pack cheaply, and give it to urban centers that you see all the way from Kampala up to Kisoro. If you don't tie those things together, you will teach people however way to drink something, but they don't have the right product. The third one would be, it's not just coffee. So you ask, what do Ugandans drink? We produce 5 billion liters of milk. We only consume 300. We produce 5 million tons of maize, but we take 1 million. The rest goes as raw material to other countries. So the thinking should be broader. How to raise consumption and production and productivity, by the way, at scale level of all our major commodities, so that those of us in Simsim fit in. Those of us in coffee fit in. Because you can save coffee ups and downs, but you've not saved maize, you've not saved Simsim, you've not saved milk. Huh? If you look at tea, prices went down because of poor quality, but how much tea do we drink as Ugandans? So I haven't gotten good information on, I see alcohol companies promoting drinks, and you see that Ugandans are drinking a lot of beer, but I don't see which people in Gulu are drinking milk, so that I can focus on them. How many of us are drinking coffee in Masaka? We used to have kawa kawomera. When I was young, kawa kawomera is called Turkish coffee when you go to Southern Europe, where you put coffee, you put a sieve, you boil water. That's what the women in Southern Europe drink. Kawa kawomera, we destroyed it. We are focusing on the seed and export of the grain. It is a much larger discussion about how do you save commodity farmers and processors and remove these vagaries that nobody answers. It's a combination of solutions. One of them I want to end with is a very good commodity exchange. If you give a young man here money to produce high fat beef content bulls, you give him money now, you collect the bulls in 2 years. If that young man has standard operating procedure, how to do it, has incentives, has laws and regulations governing that, you will have 1 million tons of beef coming from this area alone. But that is called a futures exchange. It's not available in the country. The stock exchange which you have, only companies, cell phone companies are listed. But why can't I list the milk that I produce here, a company? Why can't I list beef? So that graduates go straight into raising these stocks. This is a larger conversation that requires a discussion between the buyers, government, us the producers, and private equity funds that have tons of money out of the country but don't have where to invest it because you don't have a functioning commodity exchange.
Amazing. There's also been very heated debate recently where government, in its wisdom, decided to put a processing factory in Ntungamo. I'm sure you're aware of that. But as that was not enough, they equally recently brought in musicians and they had a concert, I think in Ntungamo as well, to promote coffee. Where is the missing gap? In my own opinion, again, I refer to my opinion, is that what farmers are looking for? Farmers are looking for incentives when it comes to maybe the planting material, manure, fertilizer. Was a concert worth the opening ceremony for that in Ntungamo? I thought maybe we could go on ground and visit farmers. The president could go and, get to hear from them. When there's a mismatch, there's a missing link there, in my own opinion. And also other people, both online and even the ones I've interacted with, have raised complaints and concerns about having a processing factory in Ntungamo. I come from the east, so that means we are going to transport coffee from the east to Ntungamo. You know where I'm coming from. What is your take on that?
So really, you're asking me questions which should be asked by the proprietor, should be answered by the proprietor.
You as a coffee farmer,
yes.
What is your comment on that?
Let's take the principles. I said wherever you locate capacity in a country, don't worry. Some of that capacity might be idle, but it will be utilized as more demand comes up. So whether you locate a plant in Kisoro or in Busia, obviously there are geographical, logistic advantages in Busia for now, but Kisoro is Rwanda, is Burundi, is Central Africa. Later, a government does not really plan for Kagwirao. You should look at how to grow these regions. The second point is that if you promote coffee growing, it's not a problem. You want many more farmers. I wasn't growing coffee 3 years ago. I am here now because there is a price incentive there is also the focus of government that all of us, private and government, can work together to promote the crop. If it is many more farmers coming into production, let's not worry. It's a good principle to have Noya, Arua, Mbarara growing coffee when coffee used to be center and a bit of west, Kabalole and those places. I don't see a problem. How the business model is set of that plant is what you should question or you should investigate. If the business model is that this proprietor can actually make money by shipping a final product from that location to any border, that's the mathematics of an entrepreneur. I've told you I set up this, but my next level is I cannot just bring here someone to buy coffee from 15 acres. I need 20 neighbors, and if I have them, I have enough land to put up a cassette plant and a roastery. I can do it. But I'm doing my math based on, I'm not alone in this area doing this. Likewise, I am assuming that plant, and I know the young man, I've helped him in the past, I speak for the entire industry. I want the same for Arua. I want the same for Bulambuli. I want the same. So the question is, how organized are you as a coffee sector to demand this approach and distribution of capacity across the country? That's where we started. I told you that for me, the lack of organization around the sector, I can't know what incentives you need. I come because I know you, I get an incentive. They come, they find that incentive is locked with one person. I've even seen companies go to Arusha, really, to make a case for a product which we are growing here. They want to import half-finished material and use that material eventually to destroy our production capacity and capabilities. So organize the sector and then you make these demands.
Okay.
That for me is my now next level thinking. How do I put together what really helps me to understand these value chains very well so that I can give clear advice on policy, clear advice on investment, clear advice on incentives. Those things are, there's a lot of gaps on how they are done.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rwabwogo here recently started up a radio show that was geared, or that is geared towards ensuring that farmers do get this kind of information straight to them through various radio stations, which we shall of course be highlighting in the next couple of, I think you can read on the screen, these are the radio stations, and the program is also going to be, put out depending on the regions. Now that is still being worked on, like he did mention, but do be well informed that I'll be bringing you all that information in the due course on my different social media platforms, including my X. So please go to my X at Dennis Duke UG. I'll be sharing all those information. Your X handle, so people can follow and get.
I think it's Odrek at Odrek Rwabwogo. That's the one I know. I think of Twitter,
formerly
X.
No, currently X, formerly Twitter.
Yes.
The same on Facebook and I think on Instagram as well. Odrek Rwabwogo.
Yeah.
All the information is going to be there. We shall also, you can check the description. I have the website for the radio show as well, and the different platforms. So please go there and listen in to quite information. And here in this radio show, like he mentioned earlier, we are not just giving out information, or he's not just giving out information, he's equally receiving feedback from you as farmers. Remember, he's not just into the policy making, he's also on ground as a farmer. This area, according to my observation, is usually hit hard with drought sometimes, or drought season. And I know for a fact that coffee requires, water. How are you handling that? How are you managing the water issue here?
We don't have droughts in Uganda. I think that's something
it's a terrible term?
Yes, because a country that has 700 millimeter minimum of rain is really not bad. Eh?
Okay.
We don't have droughts, but we have dry seasons with limited irrigation capacity. That's why you see us here. Across there, we are putting up a tank, 20,000 liters of a tank to lay the pipes. You can see.
I've seen the pipes, and this
was a temporary water holding place when we were planting.
Ah.
But we have a solar pump down in the valley, a basic technology.
That pumps water?
That pumps water up to that tank whose stand we are building, so that we are able to serve this coffee garden. But not many farmers can do that. Huh?
Absolutely, most especially in these regions.
Cheap technologies on pumping, on spraying, is what we could perhaps station at sub-counties, and people lease them, go use them for a small fee under some guidance, and another person uses them. So,
and talking about irrigation, I think government should go ahead and supplement, if that's the right word, companies that are involved in irrigation systems, say solar pumps, a few other irrigation kits that are used in farms. I think government has the obligation.
There is actually, there are no taxes on irrigation pumps for farmers. There are no taxes on tractors, VAT, things like that. I think I have seen a small tax introduced in the last budget on chemicals, imported chemicals, pesticides and herbicides. Why? Because the country is beginning to produce these, and there is a huge avalanche from external chemicals.
Okay.
So there's a bit of balance that needs to be done. But a lot of agricultural equipment doesn't have taxes.
They attract zero taxes.
They're still expensive though, because
I mean, even if you subsidize it to 1 million, and you have about maybe 10 million farmers, how many of them can afford that?
480 horsepower Massey Ferguson, if I buy it at 80 million shillings, we have to combine as 10 farmers, but that's not available. You buy, so you need to bring this down to a minimum of 15 to 20 million.
True.
So that I can use my coffee sales, my milk sales to own, and I can pay over a long time. Because nobody has 20 million in one day
just to do that. Amazing. But when we talk about the numbers, how much of coffee do we produce as a country in terms of tonnage every year? From there, I also want to know how much of foreign exchange do we get, or what value does it contribute to our GDP,
we
national
do about
GDP?
530,000 metric tons annually. 15% of that is Arabica, which is Rwenzori area and Ugiso. The rest is Robusta, like where we are. And we are now making about $1.2 billion. But it's nothing really, because it's all based on quantity. It's all based on the green bean. I'm fine with the green, keeping it expanding, but my target is, how do I kill this gap, or at least 50% of that gap? Our imports are 40,000 metric tons of coffee we drink. So my target with one region of Europe is 6,000 metric tons. We have so far shipped 2 containers to begin to fulfill that order, to kill that gap. So we could do about $5 billion if we focus on secondary level production, the way we've put effort on primary. And these plants you hear, planting Tungamo, planting, the president's intent is to say, whoever has the mindset to get a good job done, let's support. It's like having children. The firstborn just came in the world first. Do you undermine the lastborn?
Definitely.
They'll all grow and be useful. So, but if the firstborn says, no, you are treating he or she, they will grow and catch up. Huh? That's how you grow a country. Growing developing countries like Uganda requires a lot of thinking, a lot of restraint, and a lot of heart engaged money comes secondary. Unfortunately, many of the people who call themselves leaders, they are not leaders really, they are something else. They focus on the money side. How much money, this title, wow, instead of this sector called coffee. In 10 years, how do we grow it? Impartially, neutrally, and raise money external and internal and give it the right incentives. I may not be happy today, but if he is, I will use his roastery. If he's doing packaging, let's use his packaging. Let's support him because I'll buy from him. That's what is lacking across all our sectors.
When you speak these figures, they kind of look very, very appetizing and quite well, which is absolutely true. But every year we see hundreds of our young girls and boys go to the Middle East, some of whom actually are brought back dead due to the different conditions they are subjected to. How do we ensure young people in Uganda, especially in areas or regions that grow coffee, are involved? Because I'll tell you for a fact that to go in the Middle East, a young girl or boy uses about 3 to 4 to 7 million sometimes to go there, million shillings to go abroad and work. Yet that money, in my own perspective, could be used maybe to grow crops.
It's education which we give to our young people. With anything in economics, when you incentivize something, people will get into it. If you put obstructions, well, people will find a way to get around it as long as it's commercially viable. We've incentivized external education, which is a degree, university, and then I don't have a job. I disregard this coffee plant. And when you add online pressure, social media, we think that those jobs are really helpful, but they are not. They are not because you spend all the money you earn there to live. But don't blame kids who are crossing the oceans or who are spending 7 million. It is us who should look at how many jobs we have in the fish sector. So fish, if I just give you an example, we are looking at 1 million tons. To make
that every year?
Yes. 1 million tons of fish gives you $2 billion in exports. But 1 million tons does something very interesting. It will consume 800,000 metric tons of maize, meaning that now you don't need to take your raw maize outside.
You can do the production.
The feed meals, yes. It also would consume 600,000 metric tons of soya.
Soya, because they need the protein value as well.
Now, once you do that, you need 5 billion fish fingerlings. Now, when you create a ton, you produce a ton of fish, you create 200 jobs. Fish alone, we can stop people going out of the country. But the thinking is profoundly missing. We are not connecting policy with this reality that we could push through education and awareness, jobs, incentives in the sectors that have less entry barriers. Fish has a less entry barrier. Anywhere you do a pond, you can make some money. It's the same when you think of something like coffee. Let's take Bulambuli.
Where I come from.
For you to take coffee from the hills to Bale, there is transportation trucks. So remove taxes on these small diners. Complete zero, and say if you are transporting from here and you have an association, no tax. 2, you make sure that, because Mbale, I've been to Mbale and I've seen some coffee houses coming up.
Yeah, true.
If you are roasting within Mbale and you are selling in Kenya, no taxes on packaging. Simple things like that would now begin to attract designers, manufacturers to produce more jobs. We are creating jobs in the region of maybe 50 to 100,000 a year, but it's too insignificant to catch up with the graduates who are 1 million.
And the growing number of
we do about 100,000 jobs, 150. But where do you put the 700? You push these people into fish by incentivizing fish. You push these people into dairy so that these chill centers, which are run casually. You now say, if you have a chill center for 10,000 liters, these are the incentives. No, we give you free solar, we give you free water. You push people into those jobs. I think the country, for me, has reached a stage where you are bursting at the seams, population, production, but you need to think of the next 10 years to keep stable, to stem the tide of people losing 7 million. The stuff that you see online is scary. When I go through the Middle East, every hotel, I exchange my numbers, but in my heart I'm pained. So you don't need to be here as a cashier in an airport when I know in Bulambuli, you can make a lot of money.
Very true.
By you supplying this cashier in Dubai with good product.
Recently, as we wind up, whenever you talk about business and investment, young people are not willing to listen. And here's why. They say they've invested, and typically the atmosphere in Uganda when it comes to business is extremely bad. You know, people have invested money and they've lost all their capital. Is there a turning point for us as young men and women in business? Or we leave it to the old generation that have a huge capital to lose?
It's a good place to do business, because you see, I don't want to name names, there are many foreigners who come penniless and they really flourish, both from our region and beyond. India, Middle East, I see them every day. There is a group that is flourishing across Kansanga, Mienga, and you begin to hear people say, hey, Naya Bokati, Bagarach. You know, there is something they are doing well, learn from them. The return on any investment in Uganda is very good. What is a problem in business are the barriers artificially put up through corruption, largely, the certification we spoke about in the morning. A young person who doesn't know anyone chasing a certificate and pays 1 million shillings is painful. Now, so those artificial barriers are easier to remove through technology, through good public service enforcement, because discipline doesn't come by just talk. No. You deal with corruption that we know is in local government, is in licensing bodies. That's why many young people you hear, you ask, oh, I'm studying procurement. But to procure, someone has to produce.
True. Otherwise, so without production,
it's a
the
disconnect.
procurement is...
They are now telling you, the contracts committee awards a tender, I have money. It's very bad. Those are artificial.
Barriers.
Artificial things should not blind young people from fighting hard. First, to keep in their country. 2, to invest every coin they get. 3, to remain disciplined. 4, to use technology and undercut these corrupt elements. Where do you go where you won't find corruption? It's everywhere in the world. So it's the capacity of people working together to enforce a particular standard, to be aware of what is hurting, to speak out about it, and then stay in the sector and work as a sector. Don't work as you alone. If I work as me, milk alone, how many things can I do? But everybody approaches government as me. Support me, I'll be okay. It's dangerous.
It's not a collective effort. Ladies and gentlemen, we couldn't be happier. This is where we get to end this particular session on coffee. We've been talking to Mr. Odrek Rwabwogo, the chairperson of the Presidential Advisory on Export and Industries. So whatever involves export, he's the person we've been talking to. And guys, guess what? He recently started up a radio show where he will be talking a lot more, not just on export alone, but also production when it comes to agriculture and different other things, including trade, where he shall be hosting a lot of other people involved in the whole chain of systems. So please do listen in. I'll be bringing you all the information on that show, which radio station. So please stick around, subscribe, go to his different social media platforms at Odrek Rwabwogo, and of course mine at Dennis Duke Uganda. Don't forget to eat some amazing foods at Sungura House. See you on a cattle farm.